Hi there, welcome to another video. If you're new here, hi, welcome. My name is Irit. I'm a watercolor and mixed media artist based in Austria and Europe, and on my channel I share my artsy adventures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It really helps me, and leave me a comment. Tell me what you preferred, the landscape or the abstract. Enjoy! Today I'm sharing this little process of painting a very loose landscapes, and I want to show you some of my favorite techniques for painting landscapes as a color obsessed artist that also really enjoys some sort of order in the chaos, especially when I'm very unfocused and feel like just my brain is like very cluttered. So the photos that I'm using are photos that I took. This is just like half hour from my home, and it's the view from atop of this like nice mountain. There are some snowy peaks in the back, then there are some mountains, then there are some fields, and then there are trees in the front. And I just want to share with you a few of the strategies. Now, actually, when I was painting, I wasn't really looking at the photos. I kind of remembered what was happening, and that's what I worked with. So one of the things that I really love doing, and I have a couple of Fauvist artists to thank for it. The name escapes me. I think it was Derain or maybe someone else that painted a couple of paintings following my rainbow method. Of course, I'm just kidding because they died like 100 years before. But what I mean is that my color story here follows sort of the color wheel. So my sky is kind of a reddish blue, I would say. Then the mountains in the back are more turquoisey. And then we go into the greens, into the yellows, into the oranges, into the reds. That's how I'm approaching it. And I really love this. I've made another sketch in a sketchbook, or painting in a sketchbook, that I really loved. And there's actually a process video for it in the Creative Lens session, which is, I have a whole bundle of ebooks with reference photos and then a library of tutorials. If you go to yourcreativelens.com, you can read all the details. I'm just saying that because if you enjoy such videos, there's a whole library of them in there. But I have another painting process using the same method for painting landscapes, and I just loved it. Now, of course, you could switch things up here, but I just think it makes a lot of sense for, the blues to be in the back and then the yellow and reds to be in the foreground and then the middle to be kind of green. It makes sense because everything that is further away from us because of the atmosphere and everything becomes like bluer in color. And then things that are warmer, like yellow, they just pop, like they feel nearer to us. So I feel that that makes sense. And I also really love using kind of red, corally oranges and yellows and yellow ochre, and then those like warm greens. I really love using those colors, and I really love it when the dominant temperature of my work is warm. That's just what I've been craving lately, let's say. So having all of my cool colors, like those blues in the back, limited to around a third of the real estate, is just really working for me. And you can see here, I'm keeping things very loose. The photos are just my inspiration and a crutch that I use when I need it. And I teach a lot of that and show a lot of different ways of getting really creative when you're using reference photos, because to me, now this is different for everyone. And, they're like, everyone is doing something else and you should do whatever you enjoy doing. But personally, I don't find it really exciting to create a similar version of a photo. Usually the colors are not with a few exceptions of like very specific places. Like, I don't know, if I painted the cherry blossoms, like that would probably feel really good with my color senses because I love pink. But just like a regular landscape of trees and mountains, I don't find those colors exciting. It doesn't excite me to try and match them, and it doesn't excite me to try and paint them. Um, I really, really enjoy, I call it kind of putting the photo through my artist brain color editor, where I just paint with colors that I love. And I encourage you to do the same. And this is just one of the things that I show and share in the Creative Lens, and also, of course, in this video. So I just wanted to show you that. Now, a little project that I had, or like mission that I wanted to try here, was I was talking about this in last week's video, that I really want to try and kind of dirty up some of the colors that I'm using. I know I should probably try and do that in a little more organized way of, swatching things properly in a sketchbook or on a piece of paper or something, and doing like some more accurate or clear studies. But yeah, that's just not me. I just wanted to paint, so I thought I would use this opportunity to try. And what I think I'm mostly focused here was kind of dirtying up the blues and the turquoises in this painting. And I think I really like that. Um, I don't like very bright greens. You'll see that my greens here, they either lean really yellow or they lean really turquoisey. I don't like those like spring greens. It's just not colors that speak to me. And yeah, so I was trying to play here with mixing some colors, and I do really like those slightly muddier turquoises that I got. I don't know that all of this red is really working. I feel like it needs to be lighter or a bit more muted. It's a bit much. It's a bit intense. And I do like red, but I don't know. It was just, I don't feel like it's the perfect color for this setting. So I don't know. I was also struggling. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the yellow that I currently have in my paint pot situation there. It feels, I don't know, a little bit anemic. I have to try maybe another brand. Uh, this one feels quite transparent to me, and I feel like I need a little bit more oomph with my yellows. So that's my very professional way of explaining that. That yellow, I just really struggled. It's quite transparent, and actually most yellows are transparent or semi-transparent or semi-opaque. There aren't a lot of yellows that are truly opaque, and yeah, I don't know. I think maybe I need to work with either a higher quality yellow if I can find something. I think this one is, yeah, I think this one is like probably student grade, and or add to my palette something like um, nickel azo yellow. So kind of have a more transparent option that is kind of deeper in color, and then a more opaque option that will give me that opacity. So I think I need to work on my yellows a little bit for my palette. I think with the other colors, I'm pretty happy. That warm red, like orangey red, is working great. The yellow ochre is fantastic. The green is like a nice, convenient color. My two whites, I have a cooler white and a warmer white. I really love them. So all in all, it was like working for me. And I think the turquoises are beautiful when they're a little bit muted with just the other colors in my palette. And now you can see I'm just like adding some trees. I have no desire to add all of the trees that are in the photo. I just want to add a few. And I was also exploring what colors I wanted to use on them so that they pop, but yeah, I don't know. I was just like playing around and using that color wheel method or rainbow method, like that order of colors, is such a great way to just let your brain relax and enjoy the process. I feel. And I also feel that when you do this with colors that you love, I think you're very likely to enjoy the result, even if there are a lot of flaws in the painting. And my study here, painting, is very, very flawed. There are a lot of things that I don't know that they're necessarily working. I don't know if the composition is that great. Those trees are really similar to the background. The background might be a little bit too busy. There's like a lot that I could work on here, but it's a fun piece that was enjoyable to make, and I like looking at it because the colors um, are the colors that I love, right? It's those shades that I enjoy. You know, the greens are more olivey, and the turquoises are a little bit muted, and the reds are warmer, etc. So I hope you enjoyed that little demo. And what I wanted to show you now was a little bit of more of like a final step. So I'm really happy with this painting. I feel like it's almost done. I don't want to change a lot here, but I do want to kind of clean it a little bit. I think it's just the nature of like working so colorfully and working in layers that many times some things get a little bit too muddied, a little bit too diluted, a little bit too messy. And so what I'm doing here is I'm really just emphasizing kind of working with what I have and just cleaning up certain areas. So you can see I'm just layering, you know, a mint on top of mint, yellow on top of yellow, maybe with like some slight adjustments, but 95% of the time I'm just like cleaning up the areas with the same colors that they were. Again, just to get rid of some of that like muddiness that I'm not interested in. So I wanted to share this little step of the process because I think it's, first of all, again, it's very relaxing and enjoyable because you're not really creating a lot of like new things. You don't really have to think about adding things or doing things. You can just relax, mix your colors, play with color mixtures, try to match them to the existing colors or maybe tweak them a little bit. That also creates depth and interest. And yeah, but you still, you know, you get to play and you get to paint. So I really like this step. And if you work like me on abstracts and layers, then I hope you will try this or let me know in the comments if you do this. What are your finishing steps? I feel sometimes with these kinds of abstracts, that can be like the hardest part, deciding what is, you know, what if a piece is like done, because you could keep going, you know, layering more and more and more. It's always fun. There's always something to work off, something to work with. So I'm just curious to know if you're an abstract painter, but also in general, like what are your finishing touches? Like what do you come with at the end? And, you know, you feel like that's a good way to finish your work. So you see me here. I'm just playing. So much fun. I really like this piece. I need to add this one and a few other ones to my shop. Um, these are just so fun to have. I love, like my wall is filled with them, and they're just like these little jewels or like nuggets of color and happiness. And this canvas board mounted on this wooden frame, it feels so contained, but also so playful and colorful, uh, with these like, you know, clean lines and those straight shapes, that very organized shape of a quadrant. Is it? These are words that I don't have in English. It's not my first language. But, it's just like such a perfectly symmetrical shape that contains all of the mess within it. So I hope you enjoyed today's process video. It was a lot of fun to share with you, and I hope to see you very soon in another video. Take care. Bye bye.